So what we're looking at is volume of rectangular prisms. And we've got here, volume is measured in cubic units. So I'll get to that in a moment. What we've got to think about is in volume compared to, say, areas. Volume is looking, if you think of this in a 3 dimensions, it's that space it takes up, that, let's say that volume, that space when you look at it in a 3 dimensions, how much space does it take up? So if you've got a big block in front of you, how much space do you see it take up in front of you? That's what we're sort of talking about it here. So when we talk about cubic units, we're talking about this part here that I've got, for example, in this one, I've got 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter height there and a width of 1 millimeter there. So I'm basically going to go 1 times 1 times 1, and also the units, I'm going millimeter times millimeter times millimeter, and that's why I get millimeter cubed. It's also why I get centimeter cubed, centimeter times centimeter times centimeter, and that's my units there. And if we look at meters, we get the same thing. We get meters cubed because a meter times a meter, times a meter, okay? We get meters cubed, same for kilometer cubed by kilometer cubed, okay? We get the same sort of thing there. These are clearly not to scale because they're it's a lot bigger than that. Okay, so volume of rectangular prisms, how can we calculate that? Well, the volume of a rectangular prism, which was also known as a cuboid, is given by the formula of length, okay, times width, times height, okay? So length times width times height, and that's got that formula there. And the volume of a cube, so this is where all the dimensions are the same, the length and the width and the height are the same, and so I can just write it as L cubed. So let's have and go through an example. So this is a volume of a cuboid, not a cube. In this case, it's a rectangular prism. Remember, my formula V equals length times width times height. So my length is 8, so I'm going to write 8 times my width is 3, so I'm going to times 3, and then I'm going to multiply it by my height, which is 4. And if I put that in and calculate that, I'll get 96. Now, that's not my final answer. My final answer is got to account for the fact my units are in centimeters. So it would be centimeter cubed. Okay, so when we're talking about the volume of a rectangular prism, this is what we're talking about. Now, if I have this is going to be clearly not going to be drawn to scale, but if I had a cube, just a normal cube, which would say 5 times 5 times 5, so my width and my height were 5, that would be V equals L cubed, and so it would be 5 cubed, and that would be 125, and if I had it as centimeters, it would be centimeters cubed as well. Okay.